Hi guys, this is Anders again, and I'm going to talk a little bit about wire, the types of wire you use, the types of gauges, and when and where you use it. There's all sorts of types, all sorts of sizes, all sorts of colors, and to really make your piece that you want to make or dream up yours. So there's a lot out there, different ways to source it. You can always even use scrap wire. Something I found in the garage. Auto wire typically is more stranded, where you can get that smaller gauge. For instance, this stuff has strands in it when I stripped it out. More wire you use in the house, like this is a stripped out ground wire out of your typical household's wiring type of wire. It has a really nice gauge to it. It's always copper. Really great stuff. I've even used speakers. This is a speaker wire, smaller gauge. It's like a nice 26 gauge, and it just comes already all bundled up too. So you don't necessarily have to just jump in and start buying a bunch of stuff, going to Hobby Lobby or sourcing stuff off of Amazon. A lot of this wire, this is wire I got from A Zillion Beads. You can see right there. A wonderful local shop in Bend, Oregon that unfortunately just recently went out of business. Henceforth, I bought a lot of wires. A lot of this wire is from A Zillion Beads. Wonderful. I even got a lot of my rocks from A Zillion Beads. Because that's another thing too. Where do you just find all these cool rocks? And I'm going to make another video talking more about that. But yeah, that's a whole nother chapter on its own. But anyways, let's start talking about the gauges. Here's a 18 gauge wire. This is a bit thicker. You would want to use this as more of your structure type of wire. As you go up in number with the wire, it's good to note that the wire actually gets smaller and smaller. So now it's 20 gauge, this is 22, smaller yet, and this is 26, more hair thin, and with the 26 coupled with something of a bigger gauge, you then can make that cage and a base sort of mentality of a wrap. So you're encapsulating the rock and getting it nice and tight. You know, there shouldn't be so much wiggle and jiggle of the rock. You want to give it a nice big hug, so to speak. So and you can do all sorts of stuff with it. You're going to make accents. I've started to get into the habit of taking that gauge, that 18 gauge wire, wrapping it around and back over, and giving it a little bit more accent there. This piece here, I brought it out it's because it's a good example, because I've used a bunch of different wraps and a few different types of gauges on it. And I used this thicker gauges for where I want a little bit more structure and security. The smaller gauges, this is a 20 gauge right here going around. This is wrapped with 18, and with the 26 making this basket weave on the sides. And I'll talk all about those different types of weaves, because all this is essentially knowing a few weaves and about the types of different wire, and you know, there's little strategy involved in time, but basically you're just, you know, giving this rock a great big hug, and it's super fun. You'll certainly impress yourself with the results. I mean, I know I did, and it became really addicting, and that's where I'm at now, you know. And all sorts of types of trees of life you can do. Options are endless. Also, I want to talk a little bit about square wire, because that's another realm all on its own. See, I made this piece with square wire and half round wire. This is or it's flat on one side and round on the other, which complements that square wire really nice. It gets a good secure hold on it, and yeah, wraps really well. And I've been getting a lot more into this type of style. Super fun. Here's another piece. Or you just kind of go for it. I mean, a lot of these pieces too, I didn't know how they would turn out in the end. So I know it's kind of intimidating at first to make your dream piece or have it look a certain way in the beginning. But when you just go for it, it manifests into something really great. And yep, that's a little bit about wire. And yeah, let's keep going on this quest.